Some of my comments reach to thousands of views. I have a customer, one of my clients, a CMO I work with, had gained more than 30,000 views on a single comment.
Wow.
Okay, think about how many posts, how many time you have to spend on creating original posts when you have this fantastic fantastic leverage, smart commenting, but they have to be smart.
Welcome to the Marketing Academy podcast by GCMO, where in every episode we sit down with a marketing expert to deep dive into a hot topic shaping the industry. I'm Yitzi Tenenbaum. Let's get started. Welcome to the Marketing Academy podcast by GCMO. I'm Yitzi, and today is an exciting day for me because we have Mr. Tomer Zuker here.
Hey.
Tomer and I don't think we worked closely together, but we overlapped at IBM probably close to, I don't know if I want to...
Few years.
We want to date ourselves.
Few years ago.
Let's keep it at a few years ago, back when IBM was something different than it was today.
Yeah, it's a different podcast, different episode, different story.
Definitely different story. But Tomer, I know we could probably spend the entire episode on this, but how do you end up in this crazy world of marketing?
Wow. To be honest, it's something that I was planning to do since I was, I think, in high school. To be honest, yeah, my father was in marketing and sales for many years. I saw the good sides and also the bad sides of the business. And one of the things I wanted to do is to be in advertising, because there is a huge confusion between marketing and advertising. So I thought about marketing, but it was actually advertising. So I didn't do advertising, sold enterprise, but advertising, but definitely it's part of the profession. But I think in the essence is my ability, I hope to impact others, people, businesses. And by the way, that was one of my triggers for me to shift from to be an employer or a manager to be an independent consultant, the way to create impact in scale. So
interesting. Now you are also one of the first people who really jumped into LinkedIn on a personal level a little bit. Like you were using it just as a user, and then it kind of blew up for you. How do you wake up? Did you wake up one morning and you said, "Hey, I want to be active on LinkedIn"? How did that start? Because I'm sure it's been a while.
Like every morning, someone wakes up and say, "Hey." Yeah. So I've been with LinkedIn since 2007. So it's almost like 20 years. LinkedIn was completely different back then in the days. I think I worked for Microsoft in that time, and someone told me, "Hey, you need to you must open a profile on LinkedIn."
This is before the acquisition, right?
Way before the acquisition. I think a few months before of that, I created my account on Twitter and then on Facebook. Social media was the thing.
Right.
But someone told me, "Hey, you must create a profile, and because you are going to get a lot of job offers on LinkedIn." So obviously nothing happened because I didn't know how to work with the platform. So few years, after that, I think when I was in my last mile at Microsoft, something has changed. Something in the way I did marketing. I think back then I was a partner account executive. I worked with multinational companies at Microsoft, really interesting role. And I was in go-to-market, sales and marketing. It was like an integrated role. So I had to find a scalable engines to do a better marketing. And I've started to do that through LinkedIn. So I gained experience as a marketing manager and a sales manager. And I think I brought this experience to IBM. IBM was one of the partners I work with. That was the story behind me crossing the roads. But when I was a marketing manager at IBM, and I did there two roles as marketing manager and 2 roles as sales executive and sales leader, I actually pushed the button and started to do real marketing and real sales through LinkedIn. So I've gained a lot of experience, hands-on experience working around that, to create demand, to establish relationship. All the notion of social selling using Sales Navigator, and even the method behind the tools, it's something that I've gained during that period of time. I have started to share my knowledge to peers, to marketing managers, organizations, started to deliver presentation. And I found that LinkedIn is something really unique in the world of social networks. And I think that was like the start of my journey. And obviously it has been evolved enormously since then.
The platform changed a lot, probably. Like I remember LinkedIn having terrible like a UX for years.
Still, it's better.
It's gotten the latency. It was like for a very long time.
Like it's mimicked the way you find a job. You had to wait. You had to have a lot of patience. It was a genius idea. Yeah, definitely. I think after the acquisition of by Microsoft, I've seen the platform going through a lot of evolvement. I think even the understanding, and Microsoft is great in that. I believe in user experience, to better understand, better analyze the data in order to create a better user experience is something that we have experienced. But not only that, their business has been involved because LinkedIn has grown from recruiting and talent acquisition and such, and we found ourselves in one of the best B2B marketing platform ever, with the most sophisticated targeting features. I've seen the evolvement of the marketing solution and the sales solution, and also LinkedIn Learning, which is fantastic as well. So there is a really solid platform out there now.
No, it definitely changed a lot. But maybe we could break up this conversation into two. Maybe we could start off with personal. I know you work a lot with companies on building their LinkedIn strategy, but you yourself have a very strong presence on LinkedIn. Do you have any tips or guidance for, a lot of people want to do it, but they kind of don't know how. They're not sure they have good ideas. What would be good guidance for someone who wants to be more active, wants to be more out there? How would you go about building out that?
Yeah, I think the best advice I can share is you should start yesterday. Most of the people meet LinkedIn when they are looking for a new job. This is like it's too late, to be honest. It's almost like building your muscles is always a bad idea in the last minute. It's something that you need to plan ahead, and we know the reality. The market is not very stable now. I don't remember when it was stable, to be honest. So you need to get prepared ahead. This is the right, I think, approach for individuals, but also for organizations. You need to plan ahead. Maybe now you do not have any issues with demand generation. You have an established brand, whatever. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. CAI, for instance, huge disruption. Those companies that establish their brands and their thought leaderships across LinkedIn are in a better position than the rest of the world. So I think the best or the first advice is start now. To be honest, start now. You need to think about yourself as a brand. This is something that I found, to be honest, most of the marketeers have some struggles to think about themselves as brand, because they spend most of their time thinking about their company's brand. Right. They don't think about themselves as a brand, and this is a huge mistake, because there is a brand equity also for brand personal branding. Someone will pay you more because you have an established brand. It's not enough. You need to have a perfect product, but the brand equity has impact about the way you can monetize yourself. This is the way I look on things, and I work with CEOs and founders and CMOs, a lot of CMOs, and also consultants. And I told you, this is one of my triggers to work as a consultant and as an advisor, is to experience this shift in the mindset of people, how they perceive their business, how they perceive themselves, and their differentiators and their value propositions as professionals. It's completely changed the story.
Maybe I'll add to what you're saying. People often tell me, "Oh, I know you from LinkedIn," And in 2025, LinkedIn did a wrap, right? Like it told you how many posts you did. I did 17 posts in 2025, which is not a lot. I should probably do more. But it's amazing how much reach you could get by you don't have to post. It's not TikTok or Instagram where you have to post 18 stories a day. You can post once a week, twice a month, and still have a real impact.
That's true. And the algorithm of LinkedIn has been evolved a lot in 2026. It's still evolving. It can be very, frustrating experience, to be honest. But it's true. You can gain a lot of impact using an organic, approach. Again, for individuals, but also for companies. Once you have a smart, strategy, and you know how to play the game. You need to know how the game works and what are the rules, what to do, what not to do, to better understand the nuance behind the words. It's a different story versus TikTok or Instagram and Facebook. This is the reason, by the way, I see people that do greats on Facebook, for instance, or Instagram, and they crash on LinkedIn. This is very tough experience for them because it's a different creature. It's almost like a different country. You need to speak the local language, and this is something I do. I help people to acquire new skills and new language.
So Tomer, give us some of the juice. What are the do's and don'ts of LinkedIn relative to Facebook or Instagram?
I think first of all is to better understand how the networking mechanism works on LinkedIn. The network, or I call it like almost like creating a ripple effect. The way you can impact others on scale using a smart networking strategy on LinkedIn. This is something that is not very common on Instagram and Facebook. LinkedIn has been created as a networking platform intentionally. Okay, you have 3 circles of connection: the first degree, the second degree, and the third degree connections. And it's not by mistake. It's something that was intentional. This is the way you can impact on scale by choosing smartly your first degree connection. One of the mistakes I see a lot is like people accepting or asking connection requests from anyone. It downgraded the quality of the network, and with the downgraded network you cannot impact. So you need to think smartly. I have around 36,000 of connections and followers on LinkedIn, and I delete people on a daily basis because I want to maintain not only the quantity or the scale of my connections, but also the quality. The quality is much more important than the quantity. So I'm on a daily basis, I'm deleting people. It sounds very aggressive. Sorry, deleting connections that people that don't meet my goals in 2026. When I was a B2D marketing manager, whatever, like 10 years ago, I had a lot of developers in my network. It's not relevant for now.
Right.
So you need again to think about the mechanism as a scalable engine to create an impact. Okay, so this is one thing. The other thing is to perceive or to see your LinkedIn profile not as a CV, but as a landing page. Okay, if you are the brand and you are the product, this is your personal landing page. So what do you want people to do when they visit your landing page? What are the CTAs? What are the call to action? What is the positioning you would like to create yourself? Again, so think about yourself as a brand and think about your LinkedIn profile as a landing page. So with that, you can think about user experience. You can think about brand. You can think about choosing the right color palette and whatever. Okay, and I'm playing with that. I'm changing. It's very dynamic. Okay, it's not static. And this is another thing I'm seeing. And the last thing, I think this is like the big game changer, and you mentioned that, is to be involved in content and to engage with other people. So, only, I think, less than 3% of, the LinkedIn community members out of 1.3 billion of users out there only 3% are active in content creation. From strategy point of view, marketing strategy point of view, this is like the biggest blue ocean out there in social media. But still, most of the people do not publish more than 17 posts in a year. Really bad, to be honest. No,
I agree, but
you can do more. But again, probably you did something fantastic, because even with a small portion of posts, you created a huge impact. Maybe you pick the right topics. Maybe you have a very smart network strategy. Maybe you rode on specific trends, whatever. And I think this is the magic. You have to be minded to the way the platform works in order to create impact. Obviously, there is a meaning to create more content. And there is even a bigger meaning to be more engaged with other people. Comments it's one of the best leverage to create impact.
And people don't think of that. People just think about posting, but it's not just posting. It's engaging with other people's posts. It's being part of a conversation, right? It's not just me posting my own content.
It's more. It's even more than that. Ideally, you should create a mix between posts, original posts, native posts, whatever, reposting with thoughts and comments. It's almost like mix and match. Right. Each one of those tactics has their own qualities. But for me, smart comment equals to 50 likes, even more than that. So think about the way you can create impact only by commenting on your target audience's post. And this is something I really encourage people to do. Spend 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, only by commenting. Some of my comments reach to thousands of views. I have a customer, one of my clients, a CMO I work with, had gained more than 30,000 views on a single comment. Wow. Okay, think about how many posts, how many time you have to spend on creating original posts when you have this fantastic it's fantastic leverage, smart commenting. But they have to be smart.
Right.
To create great posts, champ, whatever, do nothing. Okay.
And that's a good point. Also, a lot of people are like, "Hey, I have AI. I'll write some post in AI."
Yeah, I was worried that we are not going to talk about AI. Thank you for that.
No, but I think, remember, LinkedIn even, I don't know if they still have it, the button with write with AI.
Yeah, there is like an icon on images, to be honest.
Oh, okay. But because that was terrible, because people would just, create with AI, but there was nothing there. It was just AI, blah, blah.
Yeah, AI slap.
There you go.
AI... I've been a VP marketing of 2 AI companies, and I'm in AI for years, and it's part of the things I do. And I'm total advocate of AI, but the use of AI should be in a very sensitive and intelligent manner. To be honest, when I see the current feed on LinkedIn, I don't think that most of the users do that. It's a very low quality content, and people create content for the sake of creating content. This is not content. It's not the goal.
Right.
It's only the mean. The goal is to reach or to achieve your KPIs. If you want to acquire new logos, new business, your KPIs, let's say, is lead generation or whatever. Okay. It's not posting more. It's not posting more really bad content. Definitely AI have a lot of advantages for ideation, for brainstorming, for editing, for whatever, okay? But you must leave 20-25% of your content to yourself. Otherwise, it's going to be super generic and will create no impact and will hurt your brand. As we talked before of that, you don't want to be perceived as a copycat or whatever.
As unoriginal. If we're talking about AI, I think if we in the context of LinkedIn, we have to talk about GEO as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so GEO stands for Generative Engine Optimization, and then you have the AEO, the answer. Yeah, it's a new method that has been developed since I would say like 2024, something like that. And I think it represents now the new battlefield. It's not only the SEO. There is a huge erosion around SEO. This is like the battle of the future, and you've seen those SEO experts that were smart enough to move from the field of only SEO to GEO. But when you think about SEO, it's a practice that has been evolved in the last 20 years, something like that. GEO is quite new. So you see a lot of experts, sorry for that, a lot of experts that, selling some tricks and magics when we do not have a solid and proofable playbook, okay? We are still learning this black box that called LLMs. You do have a lot of startups, even here in Israel, that are in visibility. What is your position or ranks through GEO, whatever, which is important. But what are the recommendations? Which type of content should I create in order to be cited or whatever? And I think this is, again, currently this is the main focus of brands. How can I get into the answers engines, or on Claude or Perplexity and such, and it's more complex than that. You still need authority. You need to create high quality content. You need to be an established brand. So you're going back to the basic of marketing and positioning, but it's much more complex than the old practices of SEO. Because the way we are looking or searching for content has been evolved. It's not only keywords, it's conversations. The dynamic between us and the AI tools is more intimate. It's different. It's completely different. So you need to restructure your thinking about the relationship between your customers, your users, and the AI tools, and how you can do reverse engineering to better understand the way they establish their relationship. It's different than Google. Okay, it's very personalized. It's very intimate, as I mentioned, and you need to crack that out and to find a way for you to get into those tools. And I can tell you from my own experience, I've generated leads coming from ChatGPT and Claude. People reach out to me because I was part of the answers they got. And to be honest, the first time it happened to me, I got a call from an LD manager, learning and development manager, one of the biggest organizations here in the country, a global one. And she told me, hey, I got a recommendation and I would like an offer for an AI for marketing lecture. And I told her, who should I thank to? I'm always asking people how they reach to me. Yeah. And she said, hey, I asked ChatGPT and I didn't believe her. So I asked her to send me screenshots, and she did. And I wrote about that. And it's still a customer of mine, almost like more than a year.
Wow.
It's a big customer, and it has initiated by a simple question to ChatGPT: who are the recommended lectures on AI for marketing in Israel?
Wow.
And I was cited. She got the link to my website. I have a phone number over there, and she called to me, and that works. Now, think about your own brand. Are you getting leads out of those tools? If you do not, you need to think how you can improve that.
Wow. Well, something you didn't mention, but important to say, is LinkedIn is number 2 only to Reddit.
Exactly.
In how it affects.
But in B2B, they're number 1.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because Reddit is not only B2B. LinkedIn,
Correct.
It's mainly B2B.
Right.
And I believe they will move to B2B. And again, it's mainly because of the authority. Think most of the people LinkedIn would like to be found. Okay? I don't remember the last time I updated my bio on Facebook, whatever, but I always maintain my LinkedIn profile. I want to be there. I want to be present with my authentic and updated information. And this is the reason, one of the reasons that, LinkedIn is the number 2 source for AI tools. Most of the people don't know that. And no. I think this is one of the most important triggers for them to polish and optimize the presence on LinkedIn.
100%, especially now when we're all trying to figure out the GEO and AEO and we don't know. And LinkedIn should be a good tool for that. Something that comes up, probably the number one thing that comes up in this podcast with marketers, is they always come back to founder-led thought leadership and
Yeah.
getting the founders or executives involved in LinkedIn. I don't know why. It's really interesting that everyone sees that as like a growth, an easy, low-hanging fruit growth mechanism. I feel like not many do it well. I know you, as part of your business, you help a lot of executives kind of build that persona. Any kind of guidance, thoughts around that?
Yeah, I think first of all, founder-led marketing or executive-led marketing, whatever, it's a growing practice. That's completely true. I think it's coming from because of two reasons. One of them is technical, is the algorithm. So the organic, exposure of a post from company pages gets between 1 to 1.3%. That's it. And content coming from thought leaders receiving I think 5 to 7 times more than that. So LinkedIn as a company will encourage you to invest your paid media and promoting company pages post, but not necessarily with organic posts coming from thought leaders. You definitely can add the layer of thought leader ads and run paid campaigns using the thought leaders profile, which I highly recommended to do that. But so the first reason is a technical reason. The second reason is human behavior reason. Us as human beings are wired, to make connections with people, not with brands. We tend to trust more on people. And this is the reason that you see this shift in the past, in the history, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever. A lot of executives, it's almost like they hide behind the brands, the company pages. They were not out there in the front line. It's easier, it's safer to be there. But people are looking for signal of trust. And if you are not out there, it's almost like you're losing a lot of power. So you can see people like Elon Musk, which is a very radical example, or Donald Trump is even more radical example. That they are out there. They are the company. They are the identity of the company, of the brands, of the product are there. Think about Tesla. Think about SpaceX. Whatever. Okay, you don't have to be Elon Musk, obviously, but you see more and more senior executives and leaders that are more active on social media. Mainly, it's X and LinkedIn. I think it's good. It's definitely good for the companies. It's good for them from a personal, perspective. Some of them are going to be, national leaders and whatever. So I think the practice of founder-led marketing, executive-led marketing has been evolved because of those two triggers. And as you mentioned, most of the people don't do that in the best manner because I think the common mistake I see is that trying to pitch too much, too soon, and in a very aggressive way. It's not, demand generation platform. LinkedIn is a platform to establish relationship and trust. This can lead to sales and business. So think about, again, as the CEO of the company, as a founder of the company, of the startup, how you can establish the trust from investors, from journalists, from future employees, from prospects, and from your current customers and partners. You don't have to pitch all the time. You can do that from time to time. That's perfectly fine. But you first need to establish the awareness and the trust. I think this is like the keywords of LinkedIn: trust and confidence.
And I think for leaders, as marketers, our knee-jerk reaction is to, hey, post that we just came out with this new product, or hey, CEO, can you post? Usually we'll have even their login things, and we'll post, hey, come meet us at this and that event, like very kind of non-controversial,
sporadic, and
right. I think the real way for a leader to shine is if they have opinions and strong opinions and bring something unique, and because that's when you get people excited. If a big executive or an executive who's up and coming come and says something that makes you think or is controversial. That's where, and you gave 2 examples of people who are the height of controversial, but like it or not,
it works. Yeah, it's always funny to be a thought leader. You need to share thoughts. This is true, but it's there is a risk over there, and most of the people will try to avoid those risks. I totally understand that, but if you want to be a real thought leader, you need to take some risks. People tend to believe more and to relate more and to trust more with people that has thoughts and are willing to take those risks. And there is some examples, I will not name names, even CEOs in the country on LinkedIn that share political views and economical views. I don't say it's the right thing to do on LinkedIn, but what I'm saying is that they are definitely out there. They are committed to the platform. They are committed to their values. And I think people really understand that and appreciate that.
I really like that to be a thought leader, you need to have thoughts and you need to share it. And maybe that comes to, I think a lot of struggles, people starting out with the platform, they have that, they tell themselves, look, I don't think my idea is interesting. No one cares. People will write out a post and then they're clicking on the post button. Or I know I'm thinking about someone specifically who will post and then 5, 10, 20 minutes later won't get enough traction. They'll delete it.
Yeah.
I think there's something that you need to jump into the water. You need to take that risk. You need to, and you know what? If it didn't do well, then the next one will do better. But it's okay to fail, right?
I think first of all, again, I'm not going to be judgmental or whatever. Yeah, it's you need to take risk in order to be in the game, in the market. Definitely, okay. It's safer to be a passive or whatever. I call it zombies. Most of the users on LinkedIn are zombies, but that's fine. I think that it's definitely a matter of practicing and developing your own voice and be confident with that voice. And it's okay not to get a lot of likes. Again, the goal in most of the cases is not getting likes. It's something else. Unless this is your goal, and then I can help you to get a lot of likes. It's easy to get likes, to be honest, but it's not. Yeah, it's not a goal. If your goal is to get hired, likes is not the right signals. One of the things that I speak with headhunters and such. Some of them are really frustrated that their post with job description not getting likes. I told them, hey, who will share a like on a post with a job offers if whatever, this is a risk, whatever. The real KPI is how many job application you're getting or how many companies reach out to you and ask to hire your services. It's a different story. But I understand the risk. I understand the complexity of that. I think you should spend some time with yourself and create this kind of a plan about your own narrative. And again, this is something that most of the people don't think about themselves as a brand, and they don't create such a plan. My recommendation is try to focus on 2 or 3 domains and jump into the cold water. Start writing. Start engaging with other people's posts, okay? After a few weeks, maybe month, you will better understand the behavior of your readers, about your followers. You know which type of content will work better for your own goals, which type of format works better for you. And with that confidence, you will be more active and you will see more results. Most of the people are not consistent enough, okay? They're trying for, reaching to short-term some wins, and it's a gold. It's like a long-term game. LinkedIn, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Yeah, definitely.
Tomer, you work, as you mentioned, with a lot of very cool companies and help them take their LinkedIn from nothing to something that we all know and are familiar with. What mistakes do you usually see that when you come in and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe the company's doing this? What common mistakes do companies have?
I think I see a lot of companies invest too much, and sorry for my colleagues from LinkedIn, and too soon on paid media. And they're not getting outcomes, and they're real frustrated around that, and they shut down the LinkedIn activation, whatever. So they can take really radical, actions because of lack of performance. And this is not the right, for me, this is my approach, the right method to start your journey on LinkedIn. Start to establishing your organic strategy. Try to pick your best sellers post. Only then add the layer of paid, do a lot of A/B testing, and with that, you have a control on your expenses and also on the journeys of your content, which leads me to the second mistake I see. It's not only like LGF, lead generation form. It's not only one touch. You need to create journeys. You need to create multi-touch approach and campaigns on LinkedIn. LinkedIn offers a lot of formats for content. A single image post, album, carousels, polls, videos, whatever. You need to create this kind of metrics that matching between the type of the content, the topic, the format, and the stage on the customer journey. You need to play with that, okay? You need to establish strategy. It's not a big word. This is fundamental. Create your own strategy on LinkedIn, and only then add the paid layer that I mentioned before of that. And many customers, many organization I see, pushing the paid button too soon. So this is the second thing. The third thing, is not investing in optimizing their own profiles. Okay, so they think about the company page as an asset, but they are not investing in their own personal profile, which leads to our discussion around thought leadership and executive-led marketing and founder-led marketing, okay? This is part of your strategy. Your managers is an asset. Your employees are an asset. Your partners, your customers, whatever. You can create a multidimensional LinkedIn strategy by leveraging those stakeholders. But in order to do that, you need to invest in optimizing their profiles. And this is something I do. I work with company not only around their content strategy and the company pages, but also around thought leaders and employers, brand ambassadors. So think about the way you can structure your impact on LinkedIn in more than one, silver bullet. It doesn't work.
Right, and it needs to be a mix. If you're only doing your corporate page, if you're only working with a leader, it won't work. You kind of need... No. You need and I think a big takeaway from this conversation... I'll give
you an example. A company I work with, they created a fantastic impact on LinkedIn using their CEO profile. Fantastic. And there was a day that they left the company. It's a real story. Now they have to start from scratch. They didn't create any kind of additional layers or securities, whatever, to create a more scalable and redundant strategy. They need to start from scratch.
Wow. Job security.
This is job security, definitely.
So, Tomer, I learned a lot from you today. I think specifically also that LinkedIn is a marathon and not a sprint. But I think there's a lot more that I can learn from you. And I know you're building out a course with GCMO. Can you talk a little bit about that? What it is, what we can learn there?
Yeah. So, a few months ago, I thought about that because I don't really know a course that is for CMOs and VP marketing around LinkedIn. There are a lot of trainings out there that are quite tactical, around, the marketing solutions or sales navigator and whatever. But I don't really know an holistic approach to LinkedIn for senior marketing managers. That was the trigger for me to create this training, and the GCMO is the ideal partner to work with. So I created this program. It's 5 meetings that will touch all the things that we talked about them today, about the strategy around their executive presence, how marketing leaders can establish themselves as brands, executive-led marketing and founder-led marketing, obviously paid media and best practices coming from LinkedIn, how to create effective campaigns on LinkedIn. We'll talk about organic and also company pages and how marketing manager can leverage company pages. A lot of examples, a lot of best practices. We are going to get some sessions coming from LinkedIn. This program is created with the support of LinkedIn. It's going to happen at LinkedIn office. And we are going to get some bonus sessions coming from LinkedIn leaders from the product team, the global product team. They will expose some directions about their roadmap and products, and they will ask for feedback from the field. So it's going to be a very interesting conversation, very practical. It aims for a small group of people because we want to maintain its very high quality and very close dynamic. It's only for CMOs and VP marketing. And it's going to be fun. We also have two partners, content partners. We have Maya Digital and EY's, two fantastic agencies that will bring the voice of their customers and the voice of the field. And together with LinkedIn and myself, obviously, we are going to have a very interesting and unique course. And I'm super excited around that.
It sounds super interesting. We actually had Eli from Maya here to talk a little bit about paid activities on LinkedIn.
Fantastic.
So before you join the course, tune into that episode. Tomer, there's so much more to learn from you, but you leave us with a taste for more, but thankfully there's an option for more, so I'm glad for that. Before we go, I want to thank Google for Startups. If you have a startup, this is a great place to come, and they'll give you resources, a place to work. It is really worth checking out. Also, none of this would be possible without the lovely people behind the scenes who help me. So Rotem, Rachel, Shachar, thank you again for so much of the of all the work that happens behind the scenes to make us look wonderful. Tomer, so interesting. I can't wait to do this again.
Thank you so much.